could have your attention, please. Those of you who've booked for the Border Force and JSARC walkthrough tour, you will be delighted to hear that your security clearance has come through. Must be a great relief to all of you. Now, seeing as this is a top secret and highly I'm sorry, can you hear me at the back there? Seeing as this is a top secret and a highly confidential tour, obviously the whole thing, you can't just walk into this unit, the whole thing is highly protected. This is Jackson's fencing. Enormously robust, you're not going to get through that. It's also protected by Tensor's facial recognition. Seeing as you're first to hand, sir, can I use you as a dummy on... I know, I'm really sorry, but please.
Right.
Now,
what do I need to do?
If I put you in front of here, I think all of you will be highly impressed to note that absolutely nothing happens. Now that's the point, because it doesn't recognize you, does it? Of course it doesn't, it's never met you. Yeah. Thank you very much. Whereas me, it knows very well indeed. I mean, you know, we're not intimate or anything, we're just sort of work colleagues. Could you possibly give us some details on this system?
Yes, it works for a seamless integration of facial recognition technology from Tensor's own management applications. And also it can work with existing CCTV systems to allow monitoring of subjects or targets around the building or a particular area. It exceeds the EU access control levels and is actually manufactured here in the UK and in the EU. It also can be combined with other technologies to provide 2 and 3 factor authentication with live alerts. And also it can be integrated into mobile devices. Francesca.
Thank you very much, everyone. Would you please come this way? It's quite a large tour, so if I could ask you to move down within the tour, thank you very much indeed. So welcome to Operation Exercise. My name is Francesca Hunt and I'm from an organisation called Crisis Cast, and we have put together this organisation and this operation for you, and we're going to talk you through the timeline and the storyline of the exercise. This is my colleague Mike Mullins from Border Force. He is here to give you the information you actually really want to hear. Mike, this here is the start of the story. This is the challenge that Border Force faces at the beginning of the day. Could you possibly give us some colour around these figures?
Yes, thanks Francesca. Border Force is a law enforcement command, within an operation command within the Home Office. We're responsible for securing our borders, but also what we want to do is promote national prosperity by facilitating legitimate trade of people and goods moving across our borders. As Francesca points out, these are some of the challenges that we currently face. Last year, 130 million people crossed the borders. That was a 5% increase in the previous 12 months. Border Force is responsible for immigration and customs functions at 140 rail, sea and airports in the UK. And technology plays an important part in achieving our objectives. As you can see from here, we have 249 e-passport gates operating at 21 ports in the UK and in France as well. And this helps to facilitate the legitimate movement of passengers across our borders. We have to be mindful of the fact that we also want to focus on those people and goods that's going to cause the UK most harm. Border Force is an intelligence-led organisation, and technology plays a big part in achieving our objectives. Francesca.
Thank you very much. I'm going to pick up on one word that was mentioned there, and that's fluidity. This is the current focus of Border Force, and we want to keep those borders as fluid as possible. I'm going to pull the fluidity focus into this tour as well. It's quite a circumscribed amount of time, so if we could possibly save all the questions until the end, when JSARC, who are the Joint Security and Resilience Centre, they will be very happy to answer any of your questions. Border Force is also found on the government zone over there, so anything specific that you want to ask, please leave the questions until the end. It's also worth noticing that the technology we're about to show you is the future of Border Force. This is where Border Force is going. The skills and the training and the manpower that you see on the way through, that's where Border Force is now. Now, we have put all this information into a story for you, and we hope you like it because you're in it. And one of you is not exactly who you may appear. So I shall leave you to look suspiciously round at each other whilst I ask you to follow me through to this from here, please. Thank you very much. please come on through. Thank you very much. Welcome to the command center. This is where our story really begins. And as I say, you guys are the hero of the story because you are information data analysts. Now that means that you don't get invited out to dinner very often. But that's purely because they don't realize that you're in the life and death business and your oxygen is data, information. You rely on systems like these. This is Secure Cloud Plus's NCS, that's a networked collaboration system. And it's running Capita's Control Works. Now that's an operation incident management tool. It's a program. We will be talking more about that as we go further through the tool. The NCS is a UK government accredited system. What it does is it aids your decision making by fusing data and videos, content from either secure or even public facing systems into one single information environment. Now, basically it puts everything in one place. It means that wherever you are, you can play an active role. You're the one who can manipulate, visualize, process all your data into usable, and in this operation, really importantly, actionable intelligence. Now, when I say from pretty much any location, I'm just going to point your attention to that little gizmo over there. That's the Wired Broadcast Media Port R. It's a marvelous bit of kit. It will provide the secure VPN, the virtual private network that's necessary to run systems like these two behind us. And it runs on the 3G and the 4G wireless networks. So you can create your own VPN. It's battery powered, it has either an internal or an external battery. You can even bury that thing and it'll still work. It works underwater, so it keeps us agile, which is a very nice thing to be. Now, on these boards, there are a lot of stories. One of the things the NCS allows us to do is focus our attention on whatever it is that we want to. Sir, can I ask you to help me here? If you could focus, if you just literally point to that guy over there, that nefarious looking silhouette, swing him over onto our other thing over here. Yep. There he is. Marvellous. So it's a very simple system. It works marvellously. There's a wand that you can use for rather larger groups, rather like a pointer. But it'll work on your tablet. It'll even work on your smartphone. Now the NCS has allowed us to focus on this nefarious, bad-looking silhouette. What he is he is the unidentified, as yet, head of an organised crime group. And they're trying to make a move into the UK. The point of this operation is to get some sort of intelligence closer to identifying who that guy is. Now the NCS has allowed us to focus on him. The thing that first drew him to our attention is Capita's Control Works. And funnily enough, we have an alert here. That has come up saying that there's an API, which is the Advanced Passenger Information System, all that information you have to give before you land in the UK. An API alert has said that a known associate of Mr. Big over there is landing as we speak at an airport in the UK. This way to arrivals, please.
Follow me. Okay. If I can get you to form up behind the black and yellow line, please. Could you form up behind the black and yellow line, please? Thank you.
Indeed. Thank you very much indeed. Now, you remember the last time you came to the UK? That long walk when you came to arrivals between the plane and immigration and customs, shortly before that bit when you're trying to work out how you've ended up in a massive shopping centre. Well, the long walk from plane to black and yellow line is ample time for facial recognition systems to swing into action. Actually, this system here doesn't need... What's it done? Oh, it's caught you. No, I think you'll find guinea pigs are much smaller than that. No, this is the NEC, and actually it's one of the fastest systems on the... There you are, you're green again now, don't worry. Oh, no, you're not. Okay. Anyway, it's one of the fastest systems on the market. It matches faces to an enormous database in real time, and then we're back to this point of fluidity. You've got to keep these borders moving. Of course, though, there's no point being speedy if you're not entirely accurate. Now, NEC have data from an independent study to say that this is the most accurate system in the world, which is quite a nice claim to be able to make. Yeah, it does seem to be picking you up rather frequently. I wonder if we could possibly embarrass you even further. One of the demonstrations we wanted to do was of our Border Force guards and exactly how they do a search. Could I possibly ask you whether you would mind if we used you as a guinea pig, as you say? Thank you very much. That's remarkably good of you. You are liberated from your black and yellow line. Please come round. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Border Force. Hello.
Hi.
If you could place your bag on the table, please. Okay. If you could just step this way and just watch what I'm doing, please.
Sorry.
Okay, so where have you arrived from today?
The States?
Okay, and how long were you away for?
A week.
Are you travelling by yourself today?
Yeah.
Is this your bag?
Yes.
Does it belong to you?
Yes.
Did you pack it yourself?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you fully aware of all the contents of your baggage?
Yes.
I will be conducting a search of your baggage. Do you understand that?
Hey.
Okay.
Thank you very much. This is very good.
Okay. Before I start the search, just step this way, please.
Sorry.
Okay? Before I start the search, is there anything sharp in this bag that I need to be aware of?
No.
Madam,
Sorry.
I need you to look at what I'm doing, okay? And just stand here, please, and watch. Thank you.
Sorry. Very good of you. Thank you very much. Oh, please forgive me.
Okay, just step this way, please.
Okay.
Madam, could I just bring your attention? And if you could just, yeah, could you explain what this is, please? It's a hire purchase agreement for a Mercedes.
I don't know.
You don't know?
Oh, sorry. No, I think it belongs to my boyfriend.
Your boyfriend?
Yeah. Yeah.
And is he travelling with you today?
No.
Okay, where is he?
At home.
Okay. But you accept that you were aware of everything inside the bag? Okay. Officer? Thank you very much for your time. Please carry on.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Can I go?
You can go. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So, that was our story that just left through there. Of course, I did slightly suspect as much, you know. I sort of, you get to develop a sixth sense after a while when you've been working for the Border Force. Also, she was here at the rehearsal. What was it, though, that made you stop her?
Well, she was the subject of an intelligence alert, and she was identified as a positive ID on the system that we've got over here.
Right. And you seemed to be concerned about her behaviours. There was something she was doing.
Yes. Repeatedly, I'd asked her to focus on what I was doing. She would step away from the bench. She would avoid any contact, any eye contact with me. She would disengage. And these are classic signs that we look out for in terms of demeanour, which may indicate signs of stress or possibly guilt.
And that's presumably because she's a role player from a company called Crisis Cast. Now, they provide expert role players for the security industry, and they are psychologically briefed by the in-house psychologist, who is given exactly the outcomes and, and what you want to indicate, the indications that they're supposed to create, and they will do it repeatedly, accurately, and with every single time an auditable result. Why did you let her go?
There was the hire purchase agreement, which in itself is not an offence to bring in. Border Force, we look for prohibited and restricted items. However, the fact that her demeanour combined with having no knowledge of what the item was about or anything related to it, and the boyfriend who she referred to was not travelling with her, raised my suspicions that there may be something more to the story, in which case I handed over the document to my colleague to make the necessary checks on the vehicle registration.
And what he did with those necessary checks, I will show you on the screen over there. Now what he did was he input into an app which is directly linked to the Capita Control Works program, and he input the registration number of that van rental document. My colleague here from Border Force is going to give you a little more information as to Control Works from Capita and how that fits into this operation.
Yes, as Francesca mentioned, it's already been uploaded into the Control Works, the Operation Incident Management tool, which is a proven platform for all management aspects of planned or ad hoc operations. It allows integration and unification of rich data, resource management, and operational workflows. It allows better management making decisions, and also it gives a full auditable trail. The Control Works also, you can develop pre-planned intelligence-led operational workflows. It can trigger alarms, and also from external systems, and capture and secure and store all operational information.
Actually, Mike, I'm going to have to stop you there. Talking about triggering alarms. Really? Yep. The Leonardo NAS has done something typically impressive. Now, the NAS is an automatic number plate recognition system. And out of the 50 million suspect vehicle movements that it had access to, it's managed to flag up that a vehicle with exactly the registration number of that van rental contract there has been found trying to exit the UK at a southeastern port. Now, they've pulled over the van, they've taken the driver away for questioning. That means that we can now have a look inside that van. Anybody fancy a trip to the seaside?
Okay. Joe, if you want to follow me, please, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, as you can see here, what we're doing now is Leonardo's NAS system. We're uploading and analysing the information. What we're trying to do is look at a historical match on this particular vehicle. And what Border Force are looking for is if there's actually any convoy, any other associated vehicles that may be travelling with this particular van. And if I just turn your attention to show some of the capabilities of the Leonardo system, what we have here is a number plate that organised criminal gangs can utilise and use. So if they're going to switch number plates, we call this the James Bond style scenario, number plate. So once again, you can see there. So if there was a vehicle travelling with this particular vehicle, we can put that through the Leonardo system to give us any matches to do a convoy search. In this instance, we're satisfied there are no other vehicles travelling this particular vehicle.
Fantastic. So, is anybody allergic to dogs? I think it's a little bit late, sorry. We're now going to have the dog search.
Yeah, what we've got is Roscoe, 3-year-old Springer Spaniel. It's trained to detect scents on Class A drugs, tobacco, cash and firearms. And Roscoe is one of the most successful dogs that we have in Border Force. Border Force undertake their own training program with the detection search dogs. and Jamie's been a dog handler for a number of years. So Roscoe now is just finishing the search. You can see he's very, very keen. Okay, and to finish the search, Jamie, Roscoe's handler, will then get Roscoe to search the interior of the vehicle.
As we've indicated already, a lot of the technology that you've been shown is the future of Border Force. What you're seeing here is the present of Border Force. This sort of skills, this training is available now and can be sold abroad. This is an expertise which Border Force specialises in, particularly in dogs.
Okay. So Jamie is now going to brief the search team. So these are highly skilled Border Force officers. They have a number of years of experience, and also the team are part of the National Search and Vehicle Training Centre in Dover, where all our officers go through to undertake their training for vehicle search. Okay, so now that Jamie, the handler, is given a brief to the team, and what officers are trained to do, and what these officers would do in their training, is identify space, where space occurs naturally or space that's been adapted to possibly conceal goods. They'll be systematic and thorough, and what they would do is establish what is normal and challenge what the abnormal is. Okay. I think we're the area that actually Roscoe was interested in.
Much. And more interestingly than that, it has an address, which we will of course put into our system at a later date.
If you want to make your way around to the front of the vehicle. Okay, as you can see, the officers now with the engine compartment. There is actually quite a number of areas that the officer is going to search and have a look around, and also being familiar around vehicles and the concept of space and where that space is likely to be, the officers will then go and try and examine that area, particular area.
Absolutely. Now here is where having on-scene access to the Secure Cloud NCS, which is featuring the control works from Capita, we can input all those passport numbers into immediately the stolen passport database. So the stolen passport database has informed us that all these passports are indeed all these passports are indeed fake. Now, one of the other things that they'll have in common is that they've got pictures of young women on them. One of the things that's important here is that our intelligence is from the fact that there's no alert coming up from the system. That would suggest that each one of these pictures is in fact an innocent woman who's been brought into this country under the impression that they'll be working perfectly legitimately as an au pair or something. Of course, when they get here, they'll find that they've been trafficked into the sex trade, and they'll be told that there's nothing they can do because they're here illegally. It is looking increasingly like our Mr. Big is into the modern slavery racket as well as all his other rackets. Now, one of the things that's really important here is because we have that information there, because we have those passport numbers, we can pass those on to the relevant authorities. They can make sure that they can try and track those women and safeguard them. And that's one of the other services that Border Force can provide. You found something else?
Yes. We have two large magnets here.
Magnets?
Yes, so over the last few years, Border Force have found quite a few vehicles with these magnets that open up concealments within the structures. Okay, so by placing these, this would normally take us a lot of time to do. and work out where the contacts are. By placing this here and placing it here, opens up this door, or the floor part here, and you can see into the drop floor of the vehicle.
Right, so we've got guns, we've got what looks like drugs, and we've got modern slavery. Our Mr. Big is certainly into many rackets, and one of the things that is very nice is we now, thanks to the Control Works, we have a hit on this address. Control Works is at every single point of entrance in this country, and it has flagged up that at this very moment a minibus has been stopped at a port, another port on the southeast of England. One of the passengers has been found to have links to this address. Now they've taken all the passengers off the bus so that we can have a look at it. And funnily enough, it's just through here.
Okay, if you'd like to make your way around here, ladies and gentlemen. As we stated, Advanced Passive Information has identified a person of interest. That happens to be an associate of Mr. Big. In fact, happens to be his henchman, does all his nasty work for him. So what the officers will do now is search, once again, systematically search the vehicle. Officers with their training and experience will have a look where within the actual vehicle itself. And as I mentioned, these are experienced officers. Their skills and training that they acquire through the National Search and Vehicle Training Centre, primarily looking at space, also looking at establishing what is normal and challenging the abnormal. Looking what they're looking at, question what they're seeing. For instance, they found a package where the person of interest was sitting.
Got the result there, please.
Thank you.
And what we have here is the officer with a handheld device made by Agilent. In order to save him opening the package, he's able to use the handheld device to analyse that before opening. The reason being that if it contained any harmful substances, if you open from opening the package. So once again, he will take a reading. So he's satisfied it's all clear. Got to be bearing in mind that some substances can be very, very harmful, increasingly fentanyl. Any small amount on the skin can prove fatal. So the officers now will then continue their search of the vehicle, looking at any items, any unusual items that might be contained therein. Once again, we have an item of interest here. Officer's not quite satisfied, so we get the dog to have a look at it. So once again, Roscoe seems to be interested in the base of it. It's got an absence of any markings on the actual gas canister, so the officer's going to give it a closer examination. So what we've actually found now is not actually a gas bottle, but containing tobacco. So not only is there organised criminal gangs, money, passports, drugs, guns, but now tobacco as well.
Now that we've got this discovery, we now have a reason for searching inside the back of the van. So the dog will continue its search all the way along the back of the van.
Doors open.
The dog seems to be indicating here, which is slightly alarming. So if I can ask everybody just to move back a little bit, because this is rather a large box. Might be more than a couple of pouches of tobacco in there. Now the dog has definitely indicated on yep, seems to be a very large box.
Line straps.
Okay.
Side as well. Body.
Okay, how many
Wait.
in there?
How many in there? How many? How many? One. One.
One adult.
One. Wait. Calm down. Calm down.
Okay, let's get him out of the box.
Out of the box now. Out of the box. What's in the bag?
No.
What's in the bag?
No.
Put the bag down. Put the bag down.
Put the bag down, sir.
Hey,
Step out of the box.
Let me go. Put the bag down. Wait.
Hey, sir, no need for that. Let's calm
Put the
down.
bag
Put
down.
the bag down.
Now. Out. Bag on the floor. Please. Now.
I did
Are you
nothing.
going to comply?
I did
Are you
nothing.
going to comply?
Step down, please, sir.
Step down. Arms up. Behind them.
Hey, behave.
This way. Going over here now.
Let me go.
No.
Let me
Hey!
go.
Come here. Let me go.
I did nothing.
Legs. Legs. Arms up. Stop resisting. Yeah, I've got control. Go.
Okay.
Yeah. What was that about? Let's go. This way.
Well, that really was quite exciting, wasn't it? Now we therefore have to look inside that bag that he was so keen that we shouldn't see the contents of. Anything specific?
There's a folder here. It's
Ah,
interesting.
thank you very much. Now, this is one of the threats which is increasingly prevalent in the UK. This looks to me like a right-wing terrorist organisation. Anything further?
USB stick.
Ah, now that really is quite interesting. The majority, not the majority, but a large amount of intelligence discoveries are discovered on the border. You discover this sort of information in this sort of informal search with no lead up to it at all. Now, because of the slightly alarming nature of the stuff that was found inside his holdall, under our counter-terrorism legislation powers, we do have the ability to input the contents of this little stick into our big system over there. And if I just, can I hand you that, sir? Thank you very much. If I just do, well, congratulations. I think you've solved the case. I think the operation is solved. I think we can very safely say that Mr. Big looks like this. Oh, name is Mrs. Big. So, I think you'll agree that you have done your job perfectly. You have created an excellent operation. One of the things that I would just like to show you is that both the NCS and Capita come with an ability to look over the whole operation. It provides an auditable record. You get a time and a date stamped report of exactly when and exactly how each action was taken. So I think we can congratulate ourselves. I think it also serves for us to allow to congratulate Border Force, and my colleague here will just tell us some of the great hits and achievements over the last couple of years.
Okay, as you may rightly recall, when we started the store, we looked at the challenges that Border Force faced. 130 million people crossing our borders, keeping our borders secure and safe, using technology and an intelligence-led approach. This has led to some really significant seizures over the last year. Over 5 tons of Class A drugs. For example, 100 potential cases of modern slavery, of which 70 are children. And more importantly, the border presents a unique intervention point for counter-terrorism material. So we are ideally placed that we can intercept that kind of material crossing our borders. As you've seen, we're maintaining and enhancing the fluidity, but keeping our borders safe. I'd like to hand you over to JSARC, which is looking at some of the technical capabilities that we have presently, and also looking at the border, and the vision of the border in the future. Thank you very much indeed.
Still a hot scene.
See that?
This type of exercise needs to be as realistic as possible. You need it to be exciting and bring it to life and put people under pressure as much as you can.
Until we get that firmed up, I'm not happy.
I went to Crisis Cast because they were recommended. They've been able to bring the kind of production to it, the pyrotechnics, the professional actors, the storylines. They are able to really bring it to life and make it really exciting for those involved.
Rather than spending 4 hours in a classroom, we can now spend an hour in a classroom and an hour actually in the real world. And as a training vehicle, that's phenomenal, because it means you are actually training people in something that, God forbid it doesn't, but it could happen.
Everything is in place.
The reality that we can provide, the authenticity becomes immersive. That's the sort of thing that comes back when you really need it.
It's a very faithful replication of the human behaviours that are inevitably and inescapably involved in a flashpoint moment. And we're really targeting what goes on inside the individual.
Unless you do a test run like this, it's too late. You'll be making the mistakes live rather than making the mistakes on an afternoon like this, when it doesn't matter so much.
It's about that individual encouraged, reinforced, scaffolded, bolstered with the knowledge that they're not going to fall apart during a flashpoint moment.